Hi everyone, this is Dango. In this video, we are going to talk about the tier list for 10 Sunny tournament in Illusion Connect, and then we are also going to do some recommendations on the Guild War or the Guild Boss event. So at the beginning, I want to say for the generally like PvE content, like the story clear, tier list doesn't really matter that much because the team synergy is usually much more essential. So if you are going to use attacker team, you are going to heavily focus on those like single target attackers and some AoE attacker and mages in your box. You have to make sure you have these Maki or Jiggy in your team, and you have to make sure your overall energy is below 14. So those are like really essential things to consider. Yeah, tier list doesn't really matter that much there. If you have paladin team, you focus on a lot of tank and heal. If you use like sorcerer's team, you have a AoE team basically. All of those teams should be working perfectly fine in the PvE mode. It is more about if your team has more synergy, so you triggers more leaders effect, and it is more about the timing that you drop your characters into the battlefield. So those will be much essential on sort of the tier list. But for 10 Sunny tournament, which is going to be the endgame PvP content, that is going to be a little bit different. So before I start and going through the tier list, I want to make sure that you also know that in this mode there is going to be a rock paper scissors. So there's going to be counters. Usually AoE counters summon strategy counters single target strategy counters AoE strategy. Those AoE mages are very squishy. Those single target units kills those mages easily. Even you have things to block, you have assassins that can bypass your tank and kill those mages directly. So the countering is real. But then let's start with those tier lists. So for the AoE strategy, Miyuki is very strong. Miyuki is not only strong in the AoE strategy, but also you can use the mixed box. She's just as strong in any team, but you can only use her one time in 10 battles, so there is that. Miyuki can reduce the range of all the characters. In 10 Senate tournament, all the three characters will have full reach at the beginning. So if you have a fast Miyuki that can move the first, definitely the positioning is very essential as well. But if your Miyuki is going to move first, then that is going to destroy your opponent. So that's basically a very strong Miyuki team. Shiki is also strong, basically designed for Tencent tournament. She can hit three targets and hit very hard. And also, her reduction on their damage resistance is going to make the other characters follow up, hitting even harder. So very strong. Ri is like the free-to-play version of Shiki. Although I say it is the free-to-play version, but you also need to raise Ri likely in your team, just because you need like 30 characters. Ri also hits super hard on 3 characters. But 3 characters is all you need in 10 Senate tournament unless your opponent is going to use a summon strategy. Then 3 target is basically hitting everyone already. So very strong. Kazumi very strong. You can steal the buff. If your opponent post a tank that is going to generate a shield or even like immune to any damage, you can just steal those buffs. And then your Kazumi is going to be strong for like a few turns, spamming some ultras before she's finally getting killed. So very strong counter choice to all the shield generator and invincible generator. So Yuffie very strong initiator for AoE team. You can build a like strong AoE team with even those characters like with the help from Yuffie, they can deal very huge AoE damage as well. So the single target units here I want to say two of the characters that is underestimated in a lot of tier lists. Hersey and Mei very strong actually. Those are the only units that can directly hitting a target bypass the tank. So if you have a tank in front of those characters, if you have tank attracting the attack from your attackers, those characters Mei and Hersey can still find their targets. Mei targets the lowest health point character, whereas Hersey is going to target the mage unit in your team. So yeah, those are the reasons why they are so strong in 10 Senate tournaments. They're going to be the best unit for single target because they will always find their target easily. So the other character is very strong. Eldward can steal the buff from the opponent, very, very strong. He cannot do anything to the leader. Good thing is that there is no leader in Tencent tournament. There is only going to be 3 characters in each battle. There is nothing to do with leader, so the fact that he cannot steal leader actually makes him a specialized Tencent tournament character. Okay, very, very strong as well. Um, so a lot of players, they don't really like summon strategy, but think about if you are trying to face a single target heavy team, using like Maki, using Saya, using Pan or something like that. Basically, you put Ashwaya, and she solos those 3 characters, right? Yeah, especially if you couple Ashwaya with one of the healer, probably not this healer because of super high cost, which kind of sucks. But yeah, if you cover her with like those healers or like even a revive unit, that's going to be crazy. Yeah, this is if you combine Ashwaya with Amen, that's going to make a super crazy team. Same thing goes to Gagaku with Amen. That's gonna be a crazy team. The Wolf only has like 1 health point, but then the Wolf is going to deal heavy damage to the opponent. Yeah, if Gogaku summons those wolves and she's killed, and then you revive Gogaku again, summons another 2 wolves, those reflection damage can basically kill the whole team already. So very, very strong, very, very strong. Yeah, so tanks and healers are very situational. I think they are not super good in this mode, but you're still going to use them sometime. If you're using like Yuffie and other mage to have a mage team, you probably also want to put a tank at least, so your mages are not going to be snapped by single target unit besides these 2. So yeah, so sometimes you still need tank. Healers are usually very good on with summon units. So remember, there is going to be a leader that is going to be released after we clear a future chapter. The last leader is going to be the heal and summon leader. So there's a reason that the developers make such leader, because summon and healer team is just the OP. They are hard to deal with. So this is the tier list for Tencent tournament. You have to use 30 characters in this tournament, but at least with this tier list, hopefully this is going to help you to decide which characters to raise in priority to other characters. Because I mean, you're going to make like 10 teams. You are not going to raise everyone, right? There has to be a priority, especially in the early weeks. So if you are focusing on the better units and know what kind of team they can counter, that is going to set you up an advantage in such mode. So then we are going to talk about the PvE content, which is the guild boss event. So this event I never played that, but I know how it works. Basically, you are just fighting one boss. That boss can be a single target unit, can be an AoE unit, depends on, for example, if this boss is going to be a Miyuki or if this boss is going to be a Maki. So yeah, in that case, a couple of characters are usually always going to be good. For example, Miyuki is always to be good because you can reduce the reach of the boss, so the boss can spam less of their ultra skill on you. Very good. So both these 2 characters are great characters, and they can increase the damage dealt from the card of like on your hand, which is very, very strong support. Like you don't need to even rest them. They can be very low level and it still works. They can just be put into the battlefield, getting killed, and bring all the benefit to the characters that is still in your hand. So that's very, very strong. And Shiki can also reduce the opponent's damage resistance. So that's basically another way to increase the damage you dealt. So very strong as well. So tanks and healers, usually you will need them, but depends on which boss you are trying to deal with. Is gonna be like sometimes the single target tank and single target healer is better. Sometimes the AoE healer is better. So this is about this content for now. After I clear some of the boss battles, I probably will update a more detailed recommendations. So this is all about this video. I will see you guys next time. Peace.